everybody! So today is week 3 of our Mindfulness Monday. So the love languages are going to tell you how you like to receive and express love. And this applies to all types of relationships, including friendships. It doesn't have to be romantic. A lot of the times we tend to think that other people love in the same way that we do, and that's not the case. There's actually 5 distinct ways that people like to express love. And if we don't know what those are, we might jump to certain conclusions if our friend or our partner isn't speaking the language that we prefer. This is because everyone tends to express love in their own language, and so they automatically assume that the other person feels fulfilled in the relationship because of that, whereas really they may not feel like they're getting their needs met. For example, if your love language is physical touch, meaning that you like hugs, and your friend doesn't like to be touched at all, you might assume that they don't want to be friends with you because they don't hug you back. But you notice that they are like always running errands for you, and that's their way of expressing love to you. And they probably have no clue that you don't like them running errands and you would prefer a hug. I know before I found this theory, I had a lot of confusion in my friendships. I'm like 100% physical touch, so that's basically how I determine if people are friends with me or not, or how I used to determine that. And so I would have friends that like wouldn't hug me at all, they wouldn't touch me, but they would still want to hang out, and so that was like super confusing to me, and I was like wondering if they were using me or something, because in my mind, if I don't hug someone, it means that I don't want to be friends with them, quite frankly. Because that's how I express love. If I'm not giving you hugs, then you know that there's something wrong. And so I automatically assumed that was what was going on with everyone else, but it was really that their love language wasn't physical touch, it was quality time. So they were thinking that they were expressing love to me by spending time with me, but I didn't understand that. I was like, why aren't you hugging me? Because I like physical touch so much and hugging and stuff, I get called clingy a lot. And in the beginning I was like, why is this happening? Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything out of the ordinary. How am I supposed to express love to people? But then I realized that the people calling me clingy were the people that didn't have physical touch as their love language, and so they couldn't understand why I kept wanting like physical attention, and it was just weird to them. And so after I found the love language theory, I kind of like adapted and I started practicing the different love languages, so now I know which ones my friends are and I can adapt to each one, so I know the people that don't like to be hugged and then what to do instead in that situation. Whereas before I would just try to hug everybody and it would annoy a lot of people, and yeah. During Love Language Month, I want to go over like how to adjust your love language to match the person's love language, so you guys can have like a mutual fulfilling relationship. But today we're just gonna figure out which one you guys are. So, a little bit of history, because that's what we like to do around here. The personality test was developed in 1992 by a guy named Gary Chapman, and he is a pastor who also does marriage counseling. And before I lose all of my non-religious friends, yes, his theory has been backed up by science. I always like to get my data. And it's also personally worked for me and my friend circle as well, so I know that there's some merit to it. So according to Chapman, everyone expresses and receives love in 5 distinct ways, and those ways are physical touch, giving gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, and acts of service. So Nicole Egbert and Denise Polk actually did a scientific experiment to see if his theory had any merit to it, and they actually found that a lot of people fit into 5 distinct categories. And they also found a link between the 5 love languages and the 5 components of the relationship maintenance typography. Big words. So to rewind a little bit, we'll talk about the relationship maintenance typography first. 2 people, Canary and Stafford, conducted a test that distinguished 5 specific ways people maintain their relationships, and those 5 are positivity, openness, sharing tasks, social circles, and assurances. So Egbert and Polk's study on the 5 love languages ended up showing the actual acts that people did to maintain those 5 categories of the maintenance typography. So to give you an example to kind of simplify this, assurance is one of the ways people maintain relationships. So within that, people can give compliments to their partner and spend quality time with them. So those two things from the 5 love languages are the actual acts that they do to assure assurance in the relationship. Likewise, for the social networks, people tend to use the quality time love language in order to spend time with friends and family of their significant other or their friend to create and maintain healthy friendship circles. So let's figure out which love language you're most likely to speak. As always, you can get a piece of paper or a pencil. This one's pretty short, so you don't really have to write anything down if you don't want to. So the first one is physical touch. So this means you express affection, you express your love through physical affection, whether that's hugging people, handshakes, pats on the back, like touching someone's leg or arm when you're talking, just any physical contact basically. And then likewise, you feel the most secure in your relationship when your partner or your friend gives you some sort of physical contact to kind of like validate the relationship. If your language is affirmations, then you enjoy giving people compliments and telling people what you like about them. You're pretty much verbally supportive. Likewise, in your relationship, you need your friends and your family to reassure you that you're awesome and that they like you verbally. If your language is gift giving, that's pretty much self-explanatory. It means you like giving people physical gifts. So you could be like shopping and you think of a friend, so you pick them up something at the store while you're out. So if you are a gift giver, then you would probably feel pretty darn rejected if you had a birthday and someone failed to get you a gift, because your relationship satisfaction is based on the material things that your friends give you. If your language is acts of service, you're probably the one who's always down to give people rides or like run errands for them if they need it, or give them your jacket if they're cold, maybe even bring them food when they're sick or something. You're always asking like if they need anything. You feel most secure in the relationship when your family and your friends come through for you and help you out when you need it. And the last one, if your love language is quality time, you probably prefer actually physically being there for a friend, like doing things with them, like going to the mall or to the park or just having conversation. So if you're in a friendship or a relationship where the other person's like always busy, you're probably not going to like that so much, because your relationship satisfaction comes from actually being there with the person, spending time with them. So those are all the love languages. I will put the link below where you can look up more detailed information depending on what your type is. I know during Love Language Month I'm going to be going over how to express your love to people and like cater to their love languages, but I will leave you with a tip for today. Words of affirmation and gift giving are universal love languages because everyone likes to be complimented and everyone likes the thought of someone giving them a gift. So if you're unsure of what your friend or your partner's love language is at this point, start with those 2 things because they're a pretty sure bet. Alright, and I'm going to leave you guys with that for this week, and next week we are going to talk about another personality test to wrap up our self-discovery month. Alright everybody, have an awesome day, and I will see you next week for the next Mindful Monday.